Hey everyone, Internet book reader with a headache here. Today I want to talk about Hera by Jennifer Saint. Ever since the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller in 2011 got so viral during the pandemic, there was a resurgence of Greek retelling, and by that I mean a lot of people trying to ride the tide of what is popular at that time, which I'm indifferent. I care more if it's good or not if it's popular or not. And one of these authors was Jennifer Saint, who wrote Ariadne in 2021 and Electra in 2022, which are actually quite good. And then she wrote Atalanta in 2023, and pushing for one book a year seems to have taken a lot of what makes the storytelling good, because Atalanta is not as good. It feels like Netflix miniseries that should have been just one 40-minute episode stretched into 10 episodes. And after that I don't read any other Greek retelling because a lot of them feels like trashy isekai genre from Japan. But this year, another year after Atalanta, Jennifer Saint surprisingly released yet another Greek retelling, and this time it's about Hera. So I thought I'd give this book a try and see if maybe one book a year makes the story worse or if it doesn't. The book starts with the start of the Olympian age after the gods took the reign from their father, the old god of time Cronus. Time passed and the earth has returned back to its green and lush place, and out came Hera from the forest after she just spent some quality time with some random river god. She went to Olympus for a reunion with all the gods and titans that survived the war, and she whispered some mistrust to Zeus about Aphrodite, which I'm glad that the author did not try to make her into lawful good, because the god of Olympus from our mortal point of view are not good people. Hera is one of the more chaotic evil out of the gods. Because of her insecurities and uncontained rage, a lot of Greek tragedy was told. And the reason she already started scheming is because today is the day that the gods will meet at the Olympus to make sure that the Titan will never be on the seat of power anymore. Whether it's Styx or Oceanus or even Metis that helped hide and raise Zeus and Hera. Then once all the Titans left, the gods started talking among themselves. Hera wanted Zeus to form an alliance with her since they're both the first of the new gods, because Cronus ate all the previous gods and they're the ones who saved them. And Hera herself is most wary of Aphrodite because she can inflame someone's desire, whether it's Zeus' flawed imitation of Cronus mortal or even the gods themselves, making them lose control with once. Aphrodite liked the mortal because of their flaws, so she can control them according to her wishes. Demeter wanted to help them out of pity, and Hestia wanted to give them fire for warmth, but unfortunately for the mortals, Zeus forbid her. Hera doesn't like the mortals. Compared to the gods, they look ugly and they keep fighting among themselves for scraps. But Zeus seems attached to his creation, wanting to invite a mortal that had named himself king among the mortal. His name is Ixion, the king of Lapids. When he first arrived, he marvels at everything, in awe and in fear of the splendor of the gods that had to dim themselves in order not to burn him out of existence with their true form. But the more time he spent there and the more he ate, the more greed comes out of his heart. He started to look around at all the treasures, and he even started to look at Hera's body in a way that only creeps can. Hera was about to hurl him down the mountain before Hades closed the day and bring his guest to his sleep chamber. The gods talk about the disrespect the mortal king has shown, and Zeus wanted to test how far he is going to go. So with the help of the cloud named Nepele, who in Greek mythology is the reason why clouds had so many shapes, they asked her to create a fake Hera with her hand, and as expected, Ixion, who are used to having his way with women down on earth, woke up to get his hand on Hera. He silently went to her chamber, caught her arms, and tears at her robe. But she disappeared as he put himself into her, and then the gods revealed themselves. And as punishment, he's bound to a fiery wheel for eternity, while Zeus got rid of the rest of the mortal with a great flood. Hera wanted no more mortals, no more chains, but the sons of Cronus started to crave for more. Poseidon came to Hestia, wanted her to be his wife. She refused him and came to Hera to warn him that Zeus might come for her. But Zeus already had a son with Demeter and has started having sex with his foster mother Metis, and Hera is not interested in becoming a wife, so she's planning to say no. Which of course, if you know your Greek mythology, things are not about to go according to her plan. Zeus first forced a meeting near the river of Styx where he'll start dividing the domain of the war and its rulers. The sky and everything below it, the ocean that still have Oceanus, and the underground where the dead go. With Metis' help, he reached the result of the gacha, so Poseidon got the ocean and Hades got the underworld, while he got the sky and everything else. Hera wanted to speak up in rage because she is the first of the two gods along with Zeus, and she got nothing. But Gaia managed to force her to be silent and rooted to the ground to save her from speaking up against the tyrant Zeus. Hestia shows her wisdom by asking for the smallest thing, which is being the goddess of the heart of every home and the goddess of virginity, so Poseidon can no longer take her. Zeus then made Demeter responsible for harvest and Aphrodite the goddess of love and desire, which they're already doing anyway, leaving Hera with nothing despite deserving for more than Poseidon and Hades, who she saved from Cronus. When Hera finally got freed from Gaia, she went back to Olympus to confront Zeus, and Zeus shows his plan to Hera. He wanted Hera as his wife so he can consolidate his power even more. Hera refused because she doesn't see Zeus as anything other than a brother, and she doesn't want to have the same fate as her mother Rhea, who is born to Cronus, and have to give birth to his children who he kept eating to save himself from their attack. Uranus and Gaia, Cronus and Rhea, and now Hera might follow their maternal footsteps with another tyrant Zeus, but she refused to fall under the same fate as her mother and her grandmother. She came to Demeter and Hestia asking for their help, and maybe to take back the power that should be given to them, but they refused. While Hera is searching for another plan, she sees Zeus thunder from afar and decided to come, thinking that he might have gotten into a fight. It's not a fight. Metis' prophecy has come that said that she will give birth to a son stronger than Zeus and will eventually replace him. And Zeus, fully knows that a prophecy will always come true, used all his cowardly strength to get rid of Meta. He ate her. Hera, realizing his brutality, didn't say anything and left. This time back to her home before Olympus, to Thetis' place at the edge of the ocean. Hera seeks for guidance and a place to think without any disturbance here, which Thetis can provide. But Thetis also has had enough of war and will provide Hera with no further help. Hera started thinking of the Titans in Tartarus when something happened to the world above. There's a storm that caused all the Titans and Nymph to gather near Thetis' place. Hera, feeling responsible for the commotion, decided to check out the storm and fell into Zeus' trap. Zeus assaulted Hera, who never thought that Zeus will go that far just to get a taste of her, showing him to be no more different than the arrogant mortal king Ixion, and she used that humiliating experience as a lesson that nothing can be gained by skulking and staying hidden in the shadow. She decided to marry him, a decision which Gaia blessed with a golden tree and a single apple to show her support to manipulate things in broad daylight so she can one day take down Zeus. Time passed after that. Prometheus gave fire to the new mortals and was punished with crow pecking at his eyes for eternity. Athena was born from Zeus' forehead and became his most beloved daughter. Hestia stayed at the heart of Olympus. Poseidon has assaulted many women, and Hera gave birth to a son that was from Zeus' assault to her. She decided to give birth to them out of spite, and the resulting boy is an angry and wrathful man that eventually becomes the god of war Ares, a hot-headed son that is born the opposite of the cool-headed Athena. And thus there were now 8 gods of Olympus, and Hera had to also take a role of the goddess of marriage and childbirth, which she only took half-heartedly because it's not a position that she wished for. After Ares left Olympus to build his own castle on earth away from all the other gods, Hera gave birth to another son, Hephaestus, a son that looked deformed and weak. Zeus, who was once so afraid of a strong son he ate his own mother and lover, take the news happily. Hephaestus turned into an artist who worked with Athena and seems to be love-struck to the asexual aromatic goddess. Meanwhile, Ares grew further apart after he fell in love with Aphrodite, so her plan to one day took her son to help her attack Zeus seems to only grow further. Then, as if to humiliate her further, Zeus, who forced her to become a goddess of marriage, is still chasing and forcing himself to other women. Hera witnessed a Titaness Asteria escape from him by turning into a bird, and when he struck her, she decided to turn into an island, a form that she hoped Zeus won't still put his stick into. When Hera confronted him, he laughed it off as if it's a joke, and in deep humiliation and anger, she struck the earth, causing Gaia to finally respond by giving her a child, a monster to be hidden from the other Olympians. She went to the mortal realm, hiding herself inside her temples, while those who worship her give her the nourishment she needs. Then she took a deep cave where no one can see and gave birth to the monster. He had wings and serpent tails and had strength hidden in him, but he's still a child incomparable to the almighty Zeus. She had a dream about a snake goddess that lives in a cave beneath the earth, and Gaia told her to keep her new son hidden with the snake goddess Echidna. Hera went deep inside the earth to find Echidna's hidden forgottenness, and she gave her newborn son to her so he can be hidden from Zeus. She named him Typhon, and she left to go back to Olympus, living a double life with being a goddess in Olympus and going back to the cave to feed dreams into Typhon of replacing Zeus and Poseidon, so no more mortal become a victim of their self-indulgence lust. Along with time, Echidna and Typhon relationship changed, changing from mother and son to lovers. From their marriage, first came the Hydra, then the 2-headed Orcus, and the 3-headed Cerberus. Hera plays with them like she plays with her grandsons, which they are, and at first she kept getting scratched and poisoned by them, but eventually she grew to be immune to them. She was ready for her final plan to take down Zeus, but Typhoon has grown too confident in his own strength and attacked without any plan, thinking he can take out the Olympian alone, resulting in his defeat, and Hera was punished for daring to betray the gods because of it. But not everything is lost. On the place Typhoon died, poisonous flower blooms that Hera took and milked in secret for its poison. She kept herself on the mountain for a while, but when she found a chance to go out while Zeus is going after woman again, she decided to visit Echidna, which gave birth to a lion, the last of her children. If you've been paying attention, I'm sure you're aware who will become involved in the story. Hydra, Cerberus, the Nemean lion, it's surely Hercules. But we still have a lot more lore to go through. Lore that in this story simultaneously works to show how empty the throne Hera is sitting at. Zeus later forced himself on the Titaness Leto, who managed to give birth with her sister Asteria's help by providing her with a place that is not at sea or on land because she has turned into an island. Thus Artemis and Apollo was born without her blessing as the goddess of childbirth. Then Persephone was taken by Hades, which caused 2 new seasons to come, winter and spring. Hera, as the goddess of marriage, was forced to bless their marriage despite her wishes, and for a while all she can do is punish the victim of Zeus instead of Zeus himself, because that's how powerless he was. I think this is one of the better ones from the many Greek retelling. It's not as good as Song of Achilles, but it's still very well written. Taking the point of view of the Olympian goddess is an interesting take, because unlike Norse mythology that had the Ragnarok, Greek mythology, although having more story than its Norse counterpart, had no such thing as the end of the age of gods. And no, Gigantomachia is not the end of Olympus, it's just another war they won. So it's an untapped potential for how creative many writers can be to write the end of the gods. And this book did not disappoint. The gods and mortal life eventually got more entangled as they started running quests in order to gain glory from the gods, the trial of Heracles, the Argonaut ship that became Atalanta's story, the Trojan Wars, and surprisingly, the more their life intertwined with each other, the more eventually the mortal worship affected the gods, enough that a lack of worship made them cruelly lethargic. Just like how Thetis became the forest and Gaia eventually turns into the earth, many gods started leaving the Olympus. Hestia went away first, leaving the heart of the Olympus so she can be the center of the heart in mortal houses, and more gods left. Eventually, Hera too left because she who was once too prideful to acknowledge the mortals see that it is through them that they live, through their short life, through their arts, through people who will retell their stories in different ways, leaving Zeus as a lone god ruling over an empty heaven. It's not the most perfect story. Some parts feel like a checklist of laws that the author wanted to include in the story, and those parts are especially boring to read. But overall, I think it's still a great story with an amazing ending. I give this a 4.25. What do you think? Let me know if I missed anything, so leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it. See ya.